When you're using your headphones, you're not normally looking at them while you're wearing them, which means that you may not be paying too much attention to the condition of the ear pads, which, after a while from normal wear and tear, they can start to crack and flake just from putting them on and taking them off. So when it's time to get a replacement pair of ear pads, do you go with the cheapest you can find? Today we're gonna find out, because the only ones I bought as a replacement were some that were only $17.99, when the better ones are between $22 and $50. As we all know, you get what you pay for. Will this follow that rule? Let's find out. What's going on, everybody? I am back after a wonderful time of relaxing and recreating from making videos, and now I'm getting back into it, and I thought I'd start with a relatively quick one, so let's get going. I really like my Sennheiser HD598Cs. I got them in 2016 and they work really well, and other than this replacement, I've never had any issues with them. So it wasn't surprising that the ear pads that came with them were starting to break down. They still had tons of cushion, but the covering started to come apart and leave little black flakes on everything, in my hair and my beard, and then we'd get all over. It was just time to change them. There were quite a few options. I could go with a replacement set of the stock ones. There were other brands that touted they were comfortable and made for long-lasting listening sessions, but the thing was, they couldn't tell me what they ended up doing to the headphones' sound. One wouldn't think that changing headphone ear pads would be such a big deal, but high-end headphone manufacturers don't just put anything on their products. There are companies out there that spend tons of money on R&D just for the pads. Looking at the Focal Clear MG ear pads, they have a multitude of different things going on. Soft cushions with small perforations allowing air to get in from the sides over the top, and they're really there to help the overall sound. Putting a subpar pair of ear pads on a set of headphones like that would change the sound, more than likely for the worse, but that's an experiment I may have to try another day, because why not? Getting back to the HD598Cs, they are no different. The stock ear pads were made a very specific way to help the sound and help how the frequencies bounce around between the speaker driver, the closed back of the headphone cup, and even your head, ear, and ear canal. All of this was taken into consideration in some way or another. So by putting on a new pair of pads, it probably seems more obvious now that just any old ear pads may not do. Today I'm experimenting with a pair that I found on Amazon for $17.99 from a company called Geekria. The pads have a super soft texture but firm cushion and have the listing title of Geekria Comfort Velour Replacement Ear Pads for the Sennheiser HD598, HD598 SE, HD598 Cs Headphones Ear Pads, Headset Ear Cushion Repair Parts, Black. That overall wordy title should have been my first clue as to how this was all going to work out. Replacing headphone ear pads isn't normally an issue. Firmly grip and pull the existing ear pads away from the ear cups. Some have little clips holding them in, so make sure you're still careful when you're ripping these apart. I used a small fan brush to get all of the flaky crap out of where my ears go, and since I wanted to see how terrible the 6-year-old stock ones got, I used white paper. Absolutely gross. I used a handheld LED camera light to show some of the texture and thickness here, and also how easy it was to put the new ones on. At the beginning, I did use the foam inserts that came with the ear pads. The stock ones didn't have those, but I wanted to see what they did. They did exactly as I expected, tiny amount of reduced highs that I didn't like, so I took them out. Overall, they're very comfortable, and I've been using them for about 4 months to give them a good chance. One thing I noticed right away was the now lack of bass. It's stemming from a very stiff cushion. It's that they're too stiff to conform below my ear next to my jawline. There is a noticeable gap, and I think that's where all of my low-end sound is going. These closed-back headphones don't seem to be tuned to allow more open air, like the open-back versions. I could be completely wrong and they are made the same, but one has closed ear cups and the other is open, but I know what these sound like as closed back and they aren't performing well with these pads. When I put a light pressure and close the gap, it all comes back the way they sounded when the stock pads were on. There's always a possibility that because it's such a stiff pad that it's holding my ears farther away from the drivers than Sennheiser intended. It may not seem like much, but the headphones could be engineered in a way that could take away from the sound if the pad material, cushion, and thickness cause the ears to be too far or too close to the driver compared to the stock ones. I've attempted to soften the pads not only by wearing them, but when I'm not, I'm kneading them, trying to get them to break in a little bit. Over the 4 months, I have not been able to make that work in my favor. Overall, I think this was a great experiment, and I was excited to try the cheapest pads I could find. But now I'm wondering how the $22 to $50 pads differ, and maybe they are soft enough to bring back that low end, or maybe I should just be getting a new pair of the stock ones and calling it good. Unfortunately, I am not able to recommend these on your HD 598Cs, and if you were eyeing them on Amazon, you may want to look at a different brand because there are quite a lot to choose from. On a side note, I did an experiment with my Audio-Technica M50Xs and the Shure HP AEC 940 velour replacement earpads made for the Shure SRH 940 headphones, and they are really amazing. I've been using these pads on them since 2018, and I'm still happy with how comfortable they are and how I didn't notice any difference in sound, so sometimes you may have to mix and match to find some winners. I understand what I'm hearing and how I hear sound is going to vary from what you hear, but for something like an earpad replacement review, I'm hoping I was able to make the mistake of getting these so you don't have to. If you've tried other versions of these earpads on the HD 598Cs or different headphones, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are. Also, if you know of any replacement earpad brands that you'd like me to try, please comment below, think about subscribing, and hit the bell because your suggestion may be in the next video I make. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.